Hi guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to my second stream of the day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're doing fine. We're going to have a bit of a chat today about foods and cancer. So let me just close all the extra. Oh, okay. Let me close all the extra windows on my computer. Okay, yeah. Let's get started. Hi, welcome. My name is Dr. Sylvia. I am a general practitioner and health educator with AskAwayHealth. If this is your very first time, thank you so much for clicking to one of our videos. We do weekly live streams. This is my second today, which is not usual, but I needed to talk about brain aneurysm. So please go and watch that video where I discuss what happened to a 35-year-old lady, pregnant lady, who was supposed to have her baby a week ago or so, but a week before she could have her baby, she collapsed from a ruptured brain aneurysm. So I'm talking about Instagram influencer Jackie Miller James. I don't know if you've heard the story. If you haven't, please go and watch just the live stream. I've literally just come off it. Where I talk about what happened and describe the condition and so on. Anyway, welcome. Today we're talking about foods and cancer. And this is an important topic. I know that we have every so often we hear a lot of things on the news about food and cancer risk and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to have a little bit of a discussion, try and pull the information together. What is the right information that we have to date? Because sometimes information changes, research shows up new things here and there, and that's why I wanted us to have that discussion. So you're very much welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Let me know where you're watching from. Contribute to the discussion. I don't mind if you want to send in a comment or question that we can address, or let me know just where you're watching from. Let me know what you're doing, how your weekend is going. It's very hot where I am, so I'm sorry if you hear some background noise. That is the fan in my study because it is just so hot. But you're welcome. Please like this video. Share it with somebody. Let's get more people learning about this information, talking about these things. I would really very much appreciate it. So let us begin. And we are talking about food. Which one am I going to share with you? Let me just share this one with you. There you go. Don't you like this? Doesn't this look tasty? Doesn't this look yummy? Okay, guys, I like my food just as good as the very next person. Anyway, today we're looking at how and which foods affect the risk of developing cancer. Okay, we're looking at whether what we eat and how what we eat can contribute to cancer and how it could do so. And I'm not just talking about foods that we chew, also talking about drinks and liquids and so on. Okay, I think it's important to say at the very offset that cancer is a complex disease with many risk factors. So my focus today may be on food, yes, but please let us not think that food alone, okay, directly will cause cancer. There are other things involved here and there. Cancer is a complex disease that we're still trying to understand. But of course, understanding has, increased in the last 10, 20, 30 years and so on. But there are other things that come into play with changes that cause cancer: genetics, your genes, family history, exposure to environmental factors, different parts of the world, different types of occupations, even lifestyle choices. But amongst them, diet is important, so we need to talk about it. And I would like to establish from the very first get-go, and this is information on Cancer Research UK, which I will place the link in the description box once I'm done with this stream, or later on today when I'm just moderating the description. I'll put the link to Cancer Research UK. That we talk about foods most likely to cause cancer, which is that's fine. But what's also important is not just the individual food. It's not just the individual food. It's also your general pattern, your general habit. Okay, it's your general habits and what you do long term. So according to Cancer Research UK, your overall diet, for example, what you would normally eat or what you would usually eat in a week, is more important than individual foods when it comes to cancer. Okay, and let me now, let me put this out here, and I will step on toes for these people propagating the belief or the idea that being very overweight or obese is healthy. It is not. It is not. Let me just take this off. I don't subscribe to that at all. I've struggled with my weight for several years. Sometimes getting it right, a mixture of different things, sometimes of, not controlling it as I would like. So I have been there with being overweight or obese. And both as a practitioner and an individual who has battled with their weight, I can tell you that it is not true to say that being obese is healthy and it's, it's your choice, or I'm not trying to fat shame. I would never fat shame anybody. I know how it feels, so at all I would never do that. But I would not excuse or say that we should call it what it is not. Yes, it is good to be mindful and respectful of people who are overweight, who may be struggling with their weight, but it's not good to say that something bad is. You can't call black white. You should call it what it is. There's clear evidence that being obese does have health risks. So I think apart from being a doctor who understands and recognizes those health risks, I also have the experience. And I can say that being overweight to the point of obesity is unhealthy, and it does cause significant harm. And this is by no means trying to insult anybody, but it's just stating the facts. And so we're left to make a decision as to what we can do to help ourselves. And people who are obese should try to lose weight, because losing weight can come with relief from a lot of those conditions, whether it's health related or diabetes, or, as we're discussing today, cancer. And when I talk about obesity, I'm talking about people with a BMI of 30 and above. That's the classification for being obese. Okay, so with that out of the way, that's not my main focus for today, but with that out of the way, let us look at foods and cancer. I've got a few notes here, so from time to time I'll refer to my notes as we talk. So your diet is crucial in increasing or reducing the risk of cancer. And we encourage a balanced and nutritious diet, like what I have on the screen, which can provide the body with essential nutrients and antioxidants, okay, which is recognized in helping to prevent the damage to the cells that lead to cancer and boosting your immune system. Guys, please give this video a like. I would really appreciate it. And I would love to hear from you, any comments or thoughts, your questions around the subject. Let's learn together. Okay, so yeah, balanced and nutritious diet helps that. It helps to boost the immune system as well. But on the other hand, eating certain foods can promote inflammation, oxidative stress, and lead to cancer. Okay. So what is it about food and cancer? Let's just look at it. And again, I'm quoting Cancer Research UK, where the belief is not just one individual food which equates to having cancer. It's actually collectively what you're doing, your habit, your practice. So why a healthy and balanced diet helps to reduce the risk of cancer is mostly because it keeps you at a healthy weight, or helps you to lose weight. It's not so much the food itself. It's actually because doing that helps you to keep a healthy weight, because being overweight and obese is a known cause of 13 different types of cancer. And just because I love you guys, here it is. Let me take off my ticker at the bottom. Yeah. So, being overweight, being obese, and I said BMI above 30, is associated with overweight is BMI between 25 and 29.9. Okay, I'm sort of looking at BMI above 30 and above, which is obesity. So these are the 13 cancers: bowel and breast cancer, cancer of the pancreas, the esophagus or the food pipe, the gallbladder, ovary and womb cancer, kidney, liver, stomach cancer, myeloma, brain tumor, thyroid cancers. These are all associated with obesity. So this is evidence, and we need to make sure that we're continuing to reference these things, please, that being overweight and obese, they are the second biggest causes of cancer in the United Kingdom, causing more than 1 in 20 cancer cases, according to Cancer Research UK. The risk is higher the more overweight you are and the longer you are overweight. So while you want to look at the foods most likely to cause cancer, I want to say to you that it is your collective decision. So it's not okay. So it's not just if you sit down and eat one carcinogenic food today that is going to lead to cancer, which of course is not good for you. But what we're saying is a continuous habit, a continuous process over a period of time of poor eating choices is what will lead to cancer. So is that continuous daily, weekly, monthly choice of eating unhealthy foods, which we're going to look at in a moment, that leads to excess weight, and that is more likely to put you at risk of cancer. I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on this aspect. So, according to Cancer Research UK, that risk is higher the more overweight you are and the longer that you are overweight. So, the longer you stay in that overweight bracket or obese bracket. And as I've said before, keeping a healthy weight reduces the risk of 13 different types of cancer. Now, what is it about being obese that causes cancer? Let's just quickly touch that, because then you understand how the food that we eat and the types of the content of the food and so on, how it affects tissue. So being obese, the fat cells, the excess fat cells in the body cause inflammation. And they also produce excess hormones, extra hormones and growth factors, all of which make it more likely for cells in the body to divide abnormally and become cancerous and cause cancer. So that's the link. Very straightforward. Excess fat cells, more inflammation, more growth factors and more hormones, increased cell growth, abnormal cell growth equating to cancer. That's how it develops, okay? So let's look at the foods then. And I just looked at different regions of the world, although to be fair, it's pretty much the same across the board. Let's look at the food. So for example, in Africa, where we like to have lots of smoked and grilled meats, there is the concern that high temperature cooking methods like smoking and grilling, can increase the risk of cancer. So like I have on here. So smoked and grilled meats, that cooking method can form potentially carcinogenic compounds. So that's high temperature cooking, where you're grilling and smoking. Next, palm oil, where we make a lot of very nice soups, tasty meals with palm oil. It is thought that when you heat the palm oil over and over again in the process of cooking or recooking, it can generate harmful compounds. There's something called PAH. I'm going to say that just once today. I'm going to say the entire name just once today. Subsequently, you hear me say PAH. But it stands for polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAH. So this is what is generated when you heat and reheat palm oil containing foods, or you cook with palm oil. So this could be potentially harmful. Okay. And then, of course, processed meats, that's a big thing. It's a big thing everywhere, to be honest with you. But, processed meats, like you can see on the screen, processed meats of different kinds. So talking about bacon, sausages, what else? Even your whatever, cured ham, chicken slices, all this processed. When you look on the back of the package, they've done something to it. They've added starch and sugar and all sorts of stuff to it. That's processed. And then, red meat as well. So we're talking about using those meats, particularly processed ones like the sausages, has been associated with increased risk of bowel cancer. Then traditional fermented food. So it's thought, I don't have a picture of that one. I'm sorry, I forgot to put that one up. Anyway, so fermented foods, some of our traditional fermented foods like peanuts, groundnuts, millet, sesame seeds, it's thought they may contain a carcinogenic toxin called aflatoxins, which are produced by certain kinds of mold. So when these seeds or millets and all that are not properly stored, or they become stale and mold begins to grow on them, can contribute towards the development of these aflatoxins that are associated with cancer. And then, of course, there is everybody's favorite seasoning, salt or soy sauce. Well, in Africa, you don't have much of soy sauce, so salt, okay? Excess high sodium, which is either you're putting it in your cooking or eating foods that have been preserved with it, whatever, there could be an increased risk to stomach cancer. So if you come on to Europe, it's similar picture, really. Red and processed meats, again. High salt foods, again. They mentioned charred or burned foods. I'll talk about this in a minute because it's a bit controversial, but it is thought that when you overcook or char foods, you may form potentially carcinogenic compounds. However, according to Cancer Research UK, because something is burnt and producing a particular type of chemical, let me just find the name because it escapes my mind now. Let me see if I can find it. Acrylamide. So according to Cancer Research UK, acrylamide, or that you find on burnt food, specifically asking, does it cause cancer? And the reply is, eating burnt food does not cause cancer. So if you have burnt toast, for example, or if you have your crispy potatoes, it can contain that particular chemical, which is formed when foods are cooked at high temperature. But eating that food, according to Cancer Research UK, does not cause cancer in humans. But the process of heating food up to very high temperatures, cooking, grilling foods like that, may cause some carcinogenic compounds like PAH, which I've referred to before already from palm oil, may cause that problem. Alcohol. This is a good time to bring up alcohol and sugary drinks. So excessive alcohol is a known risk factor for many types of cancer, as is excessively drinking lots of sugary drinks. So we've got sugary drinks here of all sorts, sugar in different forms in your soda, your Coke cans, or sorry, I didn't want to say Coke, your soda cans, in your juices. Some juices that contain extra sugar. All sorts of different things that we drink these days have so much sugar, so you need to watch it. And of course, alcohol as well. Excessive alcohol use is associated with cancer as well. Okay, so we've talked about salt. Yep, okay, let's go down the list. So North America is the same story. So processed meats, fast foods, diet that's high in fast food, often unhealthy fats, added sugars, increase the risk of cancers. Sugary snacks, just in case I've not mentioned them. I think I have something here that covers processed food, just popular junk food, as we say. All these contain saturated fats. They're high in salt, high in sugar. High sodium foods. It mentions artificial sweeteners. Let me touch that here. There's no evidence. So it's a bit controversial because some studies suggest a link between artificial sweeteners and cancer. But again, I'm going by Cancer Research UK, specifically addressing this about where is artificial sweeteners. So it says artificial sweeteners don't cause cancer. So things like your sucralose or aspartame. Is it how you pronounce it? Aspartame or aspartame? Oh gosh, please correct me if you know how it's pronounced. Anyway, so it says those do not cause cancer. So sucralose or aspartame can be found in many products, from your fizzy drinks, diet drinks, chewing gum, so many things that, sweetened, sugar-free foods or sugar-free drinks and so on, but they are not known to cause cancer in humans. All right, so where have we gotten to? So I think we've done North America. Yep, and similar story. So Asia, what about Asia? So Asia looks at salted and pickled food. So again, we've talked about high salt foods associated with an increased risk of stomach and esophageal cancer. Betel nuts. Okay, so this is a particular type of nuts which is linked with oral cancer. So chewing the nuts has been associated with some an increased risk of oral cancer. Soy sauce. So this one is controversial. Not really controversial. I think perhaps it's just that the thinking that it causes cancer has just gone without really looking at the evidence. According to Cancer Research UK, no evidence that soy foods, even though they contain isoflavones and estrogen-like material, there's no evidence that they actually cause cancer. The problem with soy sauce is the amount of, is eating it excessively, taking it in excess quantity and taking excess salt, which we've already seen can cause an increased risk or susceptibility to bowel cancer. So it's in large quantities. There's no evidence that eating soy foods or eating soy sauce is going to cause cancer, but in excess quantities, then it can cause problems. So Asia, we also have fermented foods, certain types of pickled foods. They may contain carcinogenic substances. I've mentioned aflatoxins already, but this also mentions nitrosamine, so that's relevant. and high temperature cooked foods. So across the globe, we have these similarities in this. These are the foods most likely to cause cancer. They have something in common. They are processed. They are high in saturated fats. They are high in salt. They're high in sugar, excessive alcohol consumption, processed meats. Then it looks at the way that the meat is or the food is prepared. So in high temperatures, palm oils, things like the betel nuts. So what is it about the processed meats? Let's just look at a few of them and just try and condense the information that we have. So what we mean by processed meats, I had a graphic. Let me just pull that up again. So when we're talking about processed, yeah. So this is food that has undergone various processes like smoking or curing. So that leads to the formation of your hams, your sausage, hot dogs, bacon, and so on, because it can form compounds which are thought to cause cancer, like nitrosamine. So the problem is consuming them excessively on a regular basis. That is what increases the risk of cancers like stomach cancer, big bowel cancer, and pancreatic cancer. When it comes to red meat, so this is fresh red meat, again, has also been associated with an increased risk of bowel cancer. So we're talking about beef, pork. Give me a second. Let me just get a drink. Yeah, beef, pork, lamb. There is an increased risk of cancer if you consume them to very large quantities, if you don't take a break and introduce other things so that you're not always eating all these types of red meat, has been associated with an increased risk of bowel cancer, big bowel cancer. In addition, the method you use to cook them, like grilling or frying, produces those chemicals like the PAH and heterocyclic amines, HCAs. These are potentially carcinogenic compounds. The names are not so important really, but the fact is that these compounds can contribute to cancer. So what is it about processed meats and red meat? So first of all, when you process them or when you're cooking them, you can produce a chemical called heme that can damage the cells in the body and lead to formation of harmful chemicals. The way you process the food, the things you mix it or cure it with, can lead to nitrites forming certain chemicals, which can make it a risk. So you're trying to do something good, but as you're trying to do that good thing, it produces a side effect, which is the nitrous chemicals or the nitrite chemicals that can increase the risk of cancer happening. And I've mentioned HCAs and PCAs, which is when you cook these foods at very high temperature, like you're grilling or barbecuing. So what am I saying about red meat and processed meat? We're just saying that moderation is best. Cut it down. It is not best to have it every single day. As many meals as possible, you need to cut down, because there is a clear risk between consuming these types of food, which are prepared in the ways that we love to eat them. We love to eat them as grilled, burgers or barbecues, or, the sausages and so on and so forth. What we're saying is that we need to be cutting them down. What about sugary? I think I've talked about sugary drinks. Is there anything new that this is saying? Basically, the thing about sugar, okay, so it's not so much that sugar, there's no way you see that sugar causes cancer. Again, the problem, like I said to you in the beginning, the thing is about the risk of obesity. See, this is what the problem is actually with the fact that eating these things makes you gain weight. Once you gain that weight, the fat cells are going to cause excess inflammation to go on in the body. This is what leads to the cancer. So it's not so much the food. So I really want us to be clear. And that's something that they try to emphasize on Cancer Research UK. So sugary beverages like soda, energy drinks, what have I left out? Chips, cookies. I think I have. I like to put the graphic on so that you're looking at it as you're talking and it's sticking more in your head. So yeah, processed snacks like chips and cookies, they contain unhealthy fats, sugars, so they don't provide any much nutritional value. There is a nice taste for a short period of time, and we should limit them, is what we should do. Okay, now let's talk about a big one. I've mentioned it already, but let's sort of sit down with it a little bit. What is it about alcohol? Alcohol, excessive alcohol, again, let me make sure I characterize it properly. Excessive alcohol intake or drinking is a known risk factor for several types of cancer. There are 7 that I know of here: breast and bowel cancer, mouth cancer, throat cancer, some types of throat cancer like the food pipe, your esophagus, your larynx and pharynx, and liver cancer. Alcohol has been named as a culprit. And why is it? It's because of the way that alcohol is broken down. And again, please let nobody tell you. Let me look at you guys eyeball to eyeball. Don't let anybody tell you that it's a type of alcohol. It doesn't matter whether it's a, I don't know how many percent strong vodka or, really high concentrated vodka, and you think that the person who's doing that is more at risk than you who are taking a 5% alcohol. It's alcohol. The breakdown of alcohol. Of course, consuming excessive quantities puts you at greater risk than the person who is not consuming so much. But it's really important to say that it is any type of alcohol that has this association, because what happens, the alcohol, when we drink it in our bodies, our body breaks it down to a different chemical called acetaldehyde, which can damage our cells and lead to cancer development. And having that chemical in our body also prevents our bodies from trying to repair the cells when they are damaged. Alcohol can also make the levels of some hormones like estrogen and insulin higher. And when those levels are higher, it would make our cells divide more in an abnormal fashion. And that is what can lead to cancer forming. Alcohol can also make the cells in the mouth and the throat more likely to absorb harmful chemicals. So things like, so it makes it easier for things like cigarette smoke to get into the cell and cause damage. So that's for somebody who smokes as well. So please don't forget, I'm going to leave alcohol alone now, but don't forget that it's the alcohol itself. It's not whether you're drinking beer or wine or alcohol pops or, any of those lovely looking, very colorful things. If you're drinking them excessively, whichever one of them, it will increase the risk of cancer. Okay, so I think I've gone through the foods most likely to cause cancer. If you're just joining, hi, we are just sort of breaking down foods likely to cause cancer and just looking at questions around and looking at the mechanism. And really, what I want you to take away is that excessive is bad. There is no single one individual food that you're going to say, if you eat this, the next day you're going to have cancer. Yes, we have the list of those that will cause damage, but it's that habit, is forming that habit and continuing to eat these things, not moderating your diet. That's where the problem is. And remember that it's not just one thing that will lead to cancer. I hate making this comparison, but the nature of cancer is such that it's so complicated, because we know that lung cancer, you have a direct correlation or cause between lung cancer and smoking. But then that there are some people who smoke and don't get lung cancer. And it's not because smoking doesn't cause lung cancer, because there are other things at play which we don't fully understand. And that is the nature of this thing. So you wouldn't be foolish and say that, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and smoke because I definitely am not going to get cancer. Well, you can't say that. You can't say that. So it's similar here. Diet is one important aspect in the whole issue of developing cancer. So let's look at a few questions that I just picked up and maybe just add a few things. Again, I got them off Cancer Research UK, and I think there are some commonly asked questions that people are wondering about. So the first one is there an anti-cancer diet? And the answer is no one diet. So if you're thinking that the keto diet or the Mediterranean, or whichever one you want to call, if you think that it is that particular diet that's going to save you from cancer, either prevent or treat, there is no evidence. And I think it's really important, because there's some people who go away with eating particular fruit-based diets as being a cure for cancer. There is no evidence for that. Please, there's no evidence for that. Yes, it's good to eat your vegetables and your fruit, because fiber, I'm going to talk about fiber in a few seconds, because they help to support good overall health and can help to reduce the risk of cancer, in addition to other things, in addition to everything that your body is healthier because you're eating. You're not subjecting your body to the excess inflammation and hormones that being overweight will do. But to simply rely on the diet alone would be wrong, especially if somebody has cancer and they go off somewhere and they want to exist on fruits and vegetables as the treatment. I know I'm sort of digressing, but I wanted to make that clear. Just based on this question about, is there an anti-cancer diet? So there's no diet that can guarantee you won't get cancer, but eating a healthy, balanced diet can help to reduce the risk. And what do we mean by healthy, balanced diet? It means eating mostly fruit and vegetables, plenty of whole grains like brown pasta and whole grain bread, healthier protein sources like fresh chicken, fish or pulses, including lentils and beans. Again, moderation. Okay, let me take a little break and say hi to somebody who has sent a message from Rocco Chutso. Hi, Rocco. Thank you so much for watching. Great to have you here. Says, thank you, doctor, for this topic. It was really helpful, especially when we have loved ones suffering from cancer. This video definitely impacts many. Thank you so much for popping in. Please share the video. I would be so grateful if you would share it for many people to watch and comment on, ask questions. That would be really great. Okay, so no anti-cancer diet, cut down on processed and red meat like bacon, sausages, chicken nuggets. Oh, like it in my house. But the key thing is you're not eating it every day. Every so often you might have it once or twice in a week, if that's not even too much. But moderation, that's the important thing. Cut down on high calorie foods, sugary drinks, and so on. Okay, now fiber. This is the one I was interested in. How can fiber reduce bowel risk? So fiber is good. Okay, fiber is good. There are several ways that a high fiber diet can reduce your risk of bowel cancer. I'm going to tell you 3 ways. Fiber is good. Okay, fiber is a type of carbohydrate. You can find fiber in things like your lentils, beans, and some vegetables and all that. Very, very useful. It maintains good overall health. Okay. 1, fiber helps us to stool more often, helps us to go to the toilet more often. It also helps to bulk our poo, makes it bulky, and then it also makes it more dilute. The benefit of that is that harmful chemicals will not spend much time in the bowel, because if you're going to toilet more often, you're getting rid of waste. So you don't give the chemicals any chance to stay in your bowel and cause problems. Up your fiber, my friends. Next, when fiber meets the bacteria in the bowel, which is there, we have bacteria, germs living in the bowel. The bacteria make something called butyrate, a special type of chemical called butyrate in the bowel. That helps the cells in our bowel stay healthy. Okay, so that's a good thing that the bacteria are doing, and they're working on the fiber. And it's that butyrate that helps the cells in our bowel stay healthy, making it less likely for tumors to cancer to form. And number 3, eating fiber helps keep you full for longer, which means you're less likely to overeat and look for all these snacks and stuff, and keep you at a healthy weight, helps you keep full longer. So being a healthy weight reduces the risk of bowel cancer and those other 12 cancers that I'd mentioned. Let me put that up for those people that came late. For those that haven't seen that lovely graphic I designed. Let me remove Mr. Rocco's message here. Yeah, so these are the cancers associated with being obese or overweight. So guys, please, let's be aware of it. So fiber. These are the benefits of fiber. Just 3. Remember them, please, and let that encourage you to eat more of your fiber. We've talked about sugar. Eating sugar doesn't cause cancer, but too much sugar makes you overweight and obese, which increases your risk of 13 types of cancer. We've talked about burnt food. We've talked about artificial sweeteners as well. What about eggs? Do eggs cause cancer? I don't know where. I've not heard that before. I know they've talked about eggs and cholesterol, but causing cancer. According to Cancer Research UK, eating eggs does not cause cancer. They have studies that have looked at the relationship between eggs and different types of cancer, but there is no good evidence that eggs will affect your risk of cancer. They provide a great source of protein, my friends, great, excellent source of protein, which has many benefits, helps to keep you full longer. Protein helps your body, helps repair your body, helps your cells repair. I can't get my words out now. Helps your tissues repair. So many benefits, particularly when you're comparing protein, for example, to saturated fatty foods, processed foods. Protein is much better. It contains nutritional value compared to those other types of food. So eggs do not cause cancer. Does eating tinned food cause cancer? This is because of the BPA scare, the bisphenol A scare. So that the concern was that because tins and cans, they're lined with a chemical known as BPA, Some people wondered whether BPA affects the risk of cancer, but at present, it's not backed up by sound evidence. They're saying that eating food that's stored in those tins that contain BPA does not cause cancer. Okay. We've talked about soy and soya. Okay, let me just mention it again. So, does eating soy or soya affect cancer risk? So, this is what Cancer Research UK says. Eating soy products does not affect cancer risk, including breast cancer. 1 minute, guys, my throat. Excuse me. So, soy products like tofu and soy milk contain chemicals called isoflavones, which are like human estrogen, but with milder effects. And that's why some people have wondered whether soy foods can be associated with breast cancer, but there are no studies do not show that link. Okay. Then somebody asked, can any foods prevent cancer? And so the answer is no single food can prevent cancer, but eating whole grain foods is better than processed. Remember, when processed versus whole grain is that in processing, you're removing certain layers of the food, and it's those layers that are removed that actually help. Those are the ones that contain the fiber. And I've told you the 3 things that fiber can do. So that's why we recommend whole grain over processed food that polishes away or removes the layers on the grain, which are actually beneficial for the body. Oh, this one is a favorite of mine. You know, everybody loves green tea. Can green tea prevent cancer? And this is, again, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but I do know from practice that people are concerned about medical or surgical treatments and prefer to go the natural way. The natural way, first of all, limited scientific evidence and for how they work, and of how effective they are for many of these conditions. So this person is saying, can green tea prevent cancer? And the answer is green tea and powdered green tea, which is matcha, do not reduce the risk of cancer. It has been thought that because green tea contains antioxidants, so that can help with reduce the risk of inflammation, that it can, reduce cancer risk or prevent it. But studies have been looked into this. They've not shown that taking green tea for any period of time reduces the risk of cancer. So please be careful. Please, even if you want to go natural, please have the advice of a medical doctor. Look at all the options. Don't run away from hospitals. If you choose to go down one particular route, then you need to keep monitoring it from time to time. The worst thing is for somebody to have a diagnosis of a condition at a very early stage, and then for them to go off into some therapy that is not backed by evidence, and then spend a lot of time in that therapy while the cancer is not being treated, it's just growing, and then come to orthodox medicine when it has advanced. That's really painful. Okay, can superfoods prevent cancer? The great superfoods that we used to think have, again, antioxidants, can deal with oxidative stress and inflammation. Things like blueberries, vegetables like broccoli, other fruits and vegetables and all that. So they don't have that. There is no evidence that they actually have that power. I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with them, and we do support them as part of your overall fruit and vegetable. It's good to have them as part of a balanced, healthy diet, which we have said what it does. It helps you to reduce your weight, stay at a healthy weight, which is what is related with reduced cancer risk. Okay, but those fruits are good. They help you with vitamins. They contain supplements that the body needs for different activities. Can tomatoes prevent cancer? No, eating tomatoes doesn't prevent cancer. So some studies have looked at whether eating tomatoes might help prevent prostate cancer because of the chemical in tomatoes that's lycopene, but there is no good evidence that it does that it prevents cancer, even though as part of an overall balanced diet, it is benefit. So have I got any more of those questions? Okay, so my friends, I'd love to leave you with this amazing array of tasty foods that's mixed with all sorts of different things. You guys know I'm originally from Nigeria, so we've got in the top right-hand corner, we've got a lovely dish of roasted or grilled fish. So, I'm saying these things so that, we're not trapping ourselves. We're not just sort of following rules blindly. Moderation is key. So in top right hand corner, we've got a tasty meal of grilled fish with some plantain by the side. So we've got protein, we've got some carbohydrate there. We've got, I don't know what sauce, is it ketchup or something? I'll go easy on the ketchup because that contains sugar. But anyway, so that's a nice dish. At the bottom, we've got roasted or grilled chicken with some garnish with some tomatoes and onions. And I think that's a side serving of some jollof rice. And I think, is that, I didn't see that earlier. Does that look like cow skin or something? The bottom right corner. I don't know what you guys think. Anyway, to the left, there is, this is, one of the Nigerian delicacies. This is egusi soup with I think that's made from gari, I think. Doesn't look like pounded yam. It looks more like gari to me. It is made with palm oil, usually made with palm oil. It will contain things like different types of meats. It might contain fish, stockfish, and so on. But again, moderation is key. And of course, in the top corner, there is a mixture of different things. You've got eggs, you've got nuts and seeds, you've got broccoli, you've got beef, you've got all sorts of kidney beans and all sorts of things going on in that image. So we are not saying that we recognize that certain foods can be associated with an increased risk of cancer. We've talked about them exhaustively in the last half hour. And then we've said that there are other types of foods that when you eat them help as part of an overall healthy diet to help you maintain a nice regular weight, healthy weight, which helps to reduce your risk of cancer. So the key really is about recognizing that there's some foods that you should eat more of, like your fruits, vegetable, and fiber, whole grains, and so on. And there's some foods that you should moderate. You should be careful. They shouldn't be frequent dishes or frequent meals showing up on your plate, whether at home or whether you're eating out. Same applies for drinks, your sugary drinks or your alcohol. Please take them in moderation. Guys, I hope this has been an interesting discussion. Thank you so much to Rocco for your comment. Much appreciated that. I know a couple of people have also been in the stream. Let me know what you think in the comments. Or if you're watching on the replay, do let me know what you think. Are there particular types of foods that you've heard are associated with? Sorry, let me just keep Rocco's. I don't know why I keep taking it off. Are there any particular foods that you've heard or you feel are associated with cancer, or that you think can help to prevent cancer? Or, what have you heard? What's going on in your neck of the woods? That's why I went through the, types from different parts of the world. Let me know where you're writing from or where you're staying. Let me know how that's associated with cancer. It would be great to hear back from you. But anyway, guys, thank you so very much for spending a little bit of your Sunday with me today. Much appreciated. Please go and watch the latest videos that we've got out. Like I said, I spoke about brain aneurysm on my live stream just an hour and a half ago. And last week we talked about this new menopause drug that has no hormones. And I think we've got a few other videos. I can't remember what was published on Thursday. Was it on? Oh, yes. Oh, gosh, that was also related to cancer, wasn't it? Sexual infections and cancer. So please go and have a look at that one, because I think as much information as we can share, that would help people to make healthy decisions about their, what their lifestyle, what practices they're undertaking, what to avoid and what not to avoid. Thank you so much. I'm going to have a nice, healthy meal of maybe, we don't have plantain, so I'm just thinking maybe some fried rice. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you again soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.